Lauren Lovey. Is that how it's spelled?
Louise.
Louise. Reyna. Brenda Reyna.
Yep. Wait for it. Looks like we're going here. Got some people popping in the pre-show.
Nice.
Say hi to the people, Heath. Right now it's just
Hey.
one. All right, popping it in there.
Great to have you.
Click go live. Okay, we're live on Rockfin. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Let me hit the Discord while we're at it.
Oh, so we're going live today.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You catch it live, you'll catch it live. If you miss it live, well, that's where the premium comes in. You get to watch the video again, but that's behind the Patreon and the Rockfin stuff. So let's just tag that in. We are live. All them platforms. Because I built the studio here to go live, and, might as well go live. Because you can see it right now. Well, look. You can even pop that up there in the yield chat. See, right there in my little Discord server.
Oh, you are professional, man. I'm sorry I'm in a dorm room in Kentucky. I should look more professional.
Well, I'm in a built-in basement bar in Minnesota. I mean, we want to play who's got the lesser setup right here. We can play that game. But as we start the Short Time Wrestling Podcast, rolling right into our discussion, Heath Eslinger, former head coach at Tennessee Chattanooga, your alma mater, doing some work with FCA Wrestling. You got an event coming up on June 18th called Truth and Technique Live. Before we get to that, Heath, you've made a career change. You've gone in the speaking role. You've gotten into the FCA Wrestling world. What's life been like for you since you left the college coaching ranks?
Oh, it's been a lot more relaxing. No, it's been good. And I look back on my time, and I am super thankful. I would never go back and change. Obviously, I'd make some different decisions. Maybe in certain situations, you always look back at that. But so grateful for my time at Chattanooga, the people I met in the wrestling world. So many great people in the wrestling world. It's easy to focus on the negative, but man, as I look back, I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. And it really shaped who I am and gave me some insight into some of the needs in the sports world today. And so that's what we're doing now. And we're excited about the opportunities ahead of us. So loving life. And I'm enjoying watching my own children play sports. And so that's been a huge blessing as well.
Yeah, it's a little different. My kids aren't playing sports yet. And I fear about that moment because, I mean, right now they're about to turn 9, about to turn 5. And they're both girls, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be that crazy wrestling dad, that crazy soccer dad. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna be when it's my kid out there. So for those parents that are maybe in my shoes, what's that transition like from somebody that's got a background in a sport so much that they know so much about it? And in your case, you were teaching wrestling at a high level. How do you just deal with that as a parent, man?
Well, I am so far on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to the parent thing. That's one of my passion projects as parents, and it's not the topic of conversation today. We can come back and revisit that. But, I really believe the parent just needs to be a silent voice of encouragement and really focus on the intrinsic things of the child. If you develop the character of the kid, then whatever sport they choose, they'll have a chance to succeed. But if you miss the character development, then you're going to be in trouble. And that's really our mission at FCA is, man, how do we help kids really get what matters most so that they can go achieve what they're fully capable of achieving? And so we want to help coaches and athletes understand that. And that's really what Truth and Technique is about. It's about helping coaches understand how do we really develop that part of the athlete as we lead them.
Yeah, and you had said before we got going is that you've been going from camp to camp to camp to camp. You're in Campbellsville, Kentucky, home of the Campbellsville Tigers, Coach Frankie James, one of your old Southern Conference rivals way back in the day. He spent some time at VMI before getting the job at Campbellsville. He
was the head coach at Chattanooga for a year.
Yeah, that too. It was right the transition too. Yeah. So he spent time in the SoCon. So let's see if I can get that. I don't know exactly what the progression was, but he took over there, and then there was you provided some stability there for a while. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. It was stability for them. I think it caused the instability in me. Just, but again, it was great, and I'm thankful. But I love what I'm doing now. Obviously, Carl Perry, who's our national director for FCA Wrestling, great friend of mine. I watched him win a national championship in 2000 while I was sitting in the bleachers licking my wounds after getting put out of the national tournament in St. Louis. And so Carl and I have always had a great relationship, even when he was at Illinois. So now to be able to partner with guys like him, Mark Ellis, Bobby Schreiner, Jose Campo, we just got a great staff all across the country with FCA now.
Yeah, and not quite. Now, I didn't watch Carl win the NCAA title. I didn't start going to the NCAA championships until 2002. But I did see Carl win a high school state title at Great Bridge. So, we're both from the same general area. And at the time, Great Bridge and my high school alma mater weren't exactly friendly on the mats. But a lot of memories of Carl growing up going, man, he was a bad dude back on the high school mats. And then he had that national championship along with Byron Tucker back in 2000. So Virginia had a pretty good year that year. Had a couple All-Americans that year.
And he went through the gauntlet, man. It was Leitner, Schwab, Engel. I mean, it was some studs in that weight class. So I actually thought he should have gotten OW, but obviously Kale was going to get it that year. But I thought
Sanderson guy, man,
yeah, he just keeps winning everything. 20 years later,
you can't not give a guy that's never lost in college an OW.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
as far as the tournament goes, I thought Carl ran through the toughest tournament.
That was a monster weight class. And you touched on this a little bit. What's it like watching what Carl's been able to do? Because FCA Wrestling's been around for a long time, but there's a lot more. There's a social influence now. There's podcasting influence. There's these types of events. What's it been like to work with Carl in this regard?
Man, I'll tell you, Carl is a tremendous leader, and you see that with just the duplication of what we're doing across the country, from California to Carolina to Tennessee to Kentucky to the Midwest, I mean, to the Northwest and Washington with Pete De La Rosa. I mean, so many good things going on right now. And the wrestling world has really welcomed us in so many different ways. The wrestling world's unique. I mean, obviously, I always say it's kind of a cult, but there's an appreciation for one another, and there's access to some of our big-time athletes. And, the faith of some of our top-level athletes right now has really catapulted us into the limelight in a sense. And so super grateful for guys like Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Snyder, who have kind of plowed the way for us to say, hey, as you're going on this journey, there are things that are truly important outside of, finishing a single leg or defending a gut wrench. And so it's just been a great few years, and Carl's done a tremendous job of leading our staff and continuing to gain traction. And so we're here today in mid-June 2021 and getting ready to launch a new, really kind of a product line and opportunity for coaches and athletes all across the country to have access to. And we're going to do that with a live event at Elevation Church in Charlotte, North Carolina on June 18th at 6 p.m. And so here we go. It's next steps.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. We've got the card coming up. I've got the screen up. We've got 5 bouts in terms of this. Drew Foster, Mark Hall. So you got a couple national champs there. Joe Rouse, Spencer Woods going Greco. Going Greco.
I'm here with Jim Grunewald in Kentucky, man. He just perked up when he heard Greco.
I mean, well, I don't know. Do you want to scrap with Grunewald and Greco? Because I surely don't. I got about 100 pounds on him, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it.
I've been telling the kids at camp, it's just the fact that Grunewald hadn't taken his medicine. That's why he's so crazy. No, that's just Grunewald in general. So he's a wild man, but an unbelievable human.
Yeah, especially since he's gone like giant beard on us all. It's like I do not.
He's trimmed up now. He looks a little sharper.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think he has a general unkemptness about him.
He can hear you.
Beard or no, I know he can. I ain't afraid. There's a screen between us. He's got Kentucky to Minnesota is not an easy. I can be in Alaska by the time he gets here. We got a women's match on the card. Brenda Reyna from McHenry, Lauren Louise, veteran on the circuit. We go the big guys, Don Bradley, Ty Walls, and then JILO, Rocky Elam. So you're not getting the home run hitter, so to speak, like some of these fans have been looking for during the pandemic. But you've got credentials, you've got NCAA champs, you've got national team members, you've got world team members, you've got Olympic trials champions. So when you say, okay, household name, no, these guys and girls have credentials. So what was it like to approach these athletes and get them to say, hey, we're doing something different. We're doing something to kick off this, I guess, more or less an awareness campaign of what's going on with Truth and Technique. But I guess talk about setting everything up and what it's been like.
Well, really kudos to Mark Ellis for making this happen. And then the guys at Elevation Church who have really just bought in. I mean, we're doing this event in one of their sanctuaries, chapel areas right there in Matthews, North Carolina. Larry Bry, who's one of the associate pastors at Elevation Church, has been a huge advocate for FCA Wrestling, a huge mentor to us as a staff. And so it's going to be super cool. I mean, it's going to be, I think, one of the best events that the wrestling world has seen, just because of the access we have to some really top-notch equipment and things like that. And so obviously we wanted to put premier matches together, and we do have some elite level athletes, but our ultimate goal is that we would be able to share the truth and the technique side of things as we launch this next year in 2021. And so the goal is just to, hey, let's allow wrestling fans to see some great wrestling. Then let's be able to share with them, hey, what's the mission behind this new initiative that we have going on? And that's the ultimate goal. We want to put resources in coaches and athletes' hands so that they can be the best versions of themselves. We don't think that God's called us just to be a wrestler. He's called us to be so much more than that. And so we want to help people understand what that looks like and how we can be a part of helping them do that.
Yeah, when we look at, I'm going changing the camera angle here. I don't know. Ooh, that's a little
weird. You look good, man.
Hey, black is slimming, and I like that. I'm going to go the wide angle just because I like that. And if you're listening on the podcast, you have no idea what I just did. But we go to FCAWrestlingPro.org, and this is where really pretty much the landing page. And you've got some high-profile names in here. You've already mentioned Jim Grunwald, who is obviously just won a bunch of stuff when it comes to the Greco-Roman side of things. But we've seen technique clips already. I just clicked on a couple of them with the promo. You got Joey McKenna out there working out. You got Brandon Slay, of course. Everybody knows his stance on his faith and what it's been like for him. Going back to like Greater Gold and BrandonSlay.com back in his post-Olympic runs. Back in the day, I was in Guatemala 2 weeks ago with Brandon. I said, hey, he wrote his name down to sign in for the dinner ticket that you had to do. And I says, you didn't write .com after it. He goes, man. So, but what's it like to work with these people? And obviously I'm looking, what's the buy-in from the athletes, not just for the card that's coming up on the 18th, but being part of the techniques and then being able to merge that with the message.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've had Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Snyder, Joey McKenna. Our elite level athletes, Mark Hall, obviously Brandon Slay, Pat Santoro, some high school coaches, Dave Kroll. So really some of the best in the country at actually coaching and teaching wrestling. And that's our goal. Our goal is to not just throw some technique out there, but actually give coaches and athletes some tangible things that I believe can be beneficial to help them run their program and develop themselves, into an elite level athlete if that's their vision and their goals. And so it's been nuts because the sport of wrestling, and man, I pray that we can stay this way. And sometimes I think I see us moving away that, we've always been the humble sport that's willing to help each other out. And man, for our listeners that are out there today, let's not lose sight of that because that's what differentiates us right now. You look at the rest of the sports world and it's kind of a me society. It may be a team sport, but it's still a me mentality. And wrestling has always been tabbed as this individual sport, but I think we have this corporate appreciation that makes us unique. And so, we have just seen an outpouring of help available as we have launched this Truth and Technique series. We've been live, I think, at 4 locations now filming, from Kansas City and our national office there in Kansas City to Philadelphia to Charlotte, North Carolina. All over the place. We've been on the road filming these different segments. And then along with that technique, not only great technique, but we also offer the truth side of things, which really just gives coaches and athletes this inside look into, hey, what is God really calling me to? What does this really look like? What is life really about? And we just allow them the opportunity to ponder and ask those questions. We're not forcing anything down anyone's throat, but we are giving them, I would say, what I call an eternal view rather than just a temporal view. At the end of the day, your wrestling career is coming to a close. You're not going to wrestle forever. Now, you can be involved in the sport a lot longer, but your wrestling career is going to come to a close. And so what are we providing to the young people we lead that actually has significant impact on every area of their life? And that's our goal.
And looking at the faith-based component, because there's going to be pushback no matter where you sit in regards to whether you believe this, you believe that, or you're agnostic or an atheist or whatnot. You can still get something out of this, even if you are not, a person of faith, so to speak.
Oh, 100%. And here's what I love, Jason, is that, and obviously the wrestling world has heard me, and they've heard guys like Grunwald and Carl and Brandon Slay. Dude, no, we're not here to offend anyone. Obviously we're here to say what we believe is the truth, that Christ came, that we're lost, and that, man, our only hope is through him. But man, I've had conversations with every faith background there is. No one gets offended. Listen, when you check your ego at the door, things are so much more enjoyable. Now, if you bring your ego with you, and there's plenty of people in the faith that are that way, I call them annoying. But if you bring your ego with you, well, then things get sticky. But if we all will check our ego at the door and have like what I call crucial conversations, I think we can really get better. And our goal with Truth and Technique is that, hey, man, we're going to bring an air of humility to this, and we're going to have some crucial conversations, and we're going to feed you and offer some things to you that I think can truly be beneficial. Even if you're a coach out there and you say, man, I want nothing to do that. Here's what I would challenge you. I truly think it can still help you. Because here's what we know in the sport world today. And if you've heard me speak more than once, you've probably heard me say this, that one of the greatest tragedies in the sport world today is we have kids with gifts and skills that get them to a room their character won't allow them to stay. And so I do believe this, even if you're not looking for like the diehard faith side of things, this is going to help you develop the character in the young men and young women you lead, so that whatever room they can get to, if it's NAI, Division II, Division III, Division I, if it's just finishing high school wrestling, they would have the character to stay in that room. It may be as a mom or a dad, as a husband or a wife, as an employer. It may be as a podcaster one day sitting in a basement in Minnesota. But whatever it is, we've given them the tools.
It's a walkout. It's not like it's a cavernous little dungeon here. Right. Just clarifying.
But but we've given them the tools to succeed in this journey we call life.
This journey we call life. We've heard that a bunch of different places before. Now, one thing that's also interesting, you bring up the different divisions. You're at Campbellsville right now, and NAI school has men's and women's wrestling programs. And where are we seeing the growth in college wrestling? It is its small, private, many of them faith-based organizations. So this, for some people that are interested, this could be that, if they go from not having that background to looking at one of these types of schools, this could be a more or less a bridge. Be like, okay, this is kind of what I'm going to be getting into if I'm looking at a faith-based D2, D3 NAI, which are, again, that's where the sport is growing on the college level. That's where the degree opportunities are coming, both for men and women.
Yeah, that's a great point. And maybe you just have questions. Well, this is a non-invasive way for you to go and learn and maybe even ask some questions. Obviously, we're always available for questions. And so feel free to shoot us an email at any time. But again, that's a great segue. If you are looking at going to a faith-based school, maybe this is an intro into that, getting some answers there.
One thing that we haven't touched on is how can we watch? We'll go back to the event here on the 18th, which if we go to Ye Old website, we hit the website's right there down on the bottom of the screen if you're watching the live event sign up. So you said it's at Elevation Church on the 18th at, it looks like 6 p.m. Eastern time. So what platform are we going to be able to watch this on?
So the platform is going to be through Elevation Church, and obviously they stream to millions of people each week. And so they are handling all of that for us. And so it will run through FCA, but it will be really navigating through, and you're a lot smarter than me when it comes to these technological things, but it'll be navigated through and kind of ran through all they do with their streaming each and every Sunday. And they do millions of people across the world now. And so again, the easiest way to get there, go to fcawrestling.org. At the top, you can click on live event. You can register there. It's going to send you some reminders. You're going to be alerted when that first match begins to start at 6 p.m. You're going to hear myself, Brandon Slay, a lot of other Larry Bry from Elevation Church will be commentating that the whole time. I think Brian, your friend Brian Hazard's going to be there as well, doing some things.
Friend?
He didn't. Yeah. And so, he's going to be there as well, I believe, just doing some different things. And so it's just going to be a cool event. The wrestling world, that we love wrestling. And so we thought, what an opportunity for us to do something a little unique with some premier athletes, but also tell our story of what we're trying to do in this Truth and Technique series.
Any cost? Right now, all I see is a sign up, a registration page.
No, it's a free live event. It's
free wrestling.
Yeah, free wrestling. All right. Free wrestling. And so once the Truth and Technique, once they hear about the Truth and Technique, that is a very small subscription-based thing for the coaches and the athletes. You can buy one of those as a coach for your entire team. Again, it's a very, very minimal price, but we're super excited about that. Look forward to this event. And, hopefully the wrestling world's going to even know more about FCA wrestling after the 18th.
One thing I thought when I first looked at this and I said, okay, a church is streaming. Well, even pre-pandemic, there was few groups that are more adept at live streaming than large churches. And I'm going to assume Elevation Church is probably got a pretty large venue congregation. They're used to streaming this. And then you touched on the Go to Millions. Eagle Brook Church, where I attend up here in Minnesota. Yes, branch campuses. You got the main one in Lino Lakes, Minnesota, but we've got the satellite campus, and then they're streamed all around. And since the pandemic, we watch, bring it up on either Facebook Live or the app on our iPad, sit there, eat breakfast, and watch on Sundays. So, and you know what? Minimal streaming, but they've got it. They've been there and done everything when it comes to, okay, how many people can we handle? I think Sundays for church, usually a bit more of a strain on the bandwidth than a wrestling event. So I think we're going to be good there.
Yeah, I think we're going to be safe when it comes to number of viewers. They're used to streaming to a whole lot all across the world. And so that's we're just very fortunate that they have jumped on with us and are excited about what FCA Wrestling is doing. They're wrestling fans. Both Pastor Furtick and Larry Bry are super big wrestling fans. And so, it's super cool to partner with them. And again, they said, hey, let's do it right here at Elevation in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we jumped at it and have a full production team that's going to be there with us. Todd Davis with Gray Wing Media is going to be there with us. And so super excited about the 18th.
Yeah, it seems I'm not sure. Are you going to have it in like the theater, like almost like that theater seating like Virginia Tech and Missouri have done?
Well, it's a little bit like that. I mean, the mat will be on the actual floor of this place. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it's a big area. It's a perfect area for this size of event. We do offer some live attendance. If you wanted to come live, you need to get on and do that ASAP. If you're in the Charlotte area and want to attend, you need to get on and do that ASAP because seating is limited in that space with a mat and the floor. But again, they're set up. I mean, if you go check out anything Elevation, and when you see it, it's as good as anything in the country right now out there.
I mean, you could probably put chess out there, and it would just look pretty cool.
Yeah, they do a phenomenal job. I'm actually super pumped to see how the event from just an ace.
I think Heath just froze for a minute.
PRTC, there are some things that have gone on that are really, really good, but we hope that we can do it just as good or better.
So when we look forward to what's going to go on June 18th, we got the Truth and Technique camps. We have everything that's been building up as Heath's screen has froze. I think we can still hear him, but I guess we're not trying to wrap up already. But the point is there's some things that are moving forward with FCA Wrestling, and it's, again, we touched on the impact and the social presence of FCA Wrestling has been growing in the last couple of years. But what are the next steps after this card? What are the next steps after the Truth and Technique series and I guess the product you're putting out?
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you're still frozen a little bit.
Am I? Well, we don't want Truth and Technique to end. I mean, this is going to be an ongoing thing where we continue to offer new truth, new technique, on a quarterly basis where we're refilming, on a quarterly basis and doing new things. And obviously we want to hear from the coaches. Hey, what do the coaches want? What do the coaches need? We want to meet that need. The best doctors don't just tell you something. They tell you what you need. They offer you the prescription that is useful for you. And so we want to offer a prescription that's useful. And so we want to hear from the coaches. Hey, what did you like? What could we do better? We're going to go back, we're going to refilm, and we're going to try to meet that need.
Yeah, as we look through, I want to touch on some of the matchups as we come back to June 18th, which is coming up as we record this a week from today. By the time you hear this, it still won't be yet June 18th, but we're giving you a little bit of time to run up. Drew Foster, Mark Hall, we've got Northern Iowa national champ. He was their first national champ since Tony Davis. That was a monumental breakthrough. He comes through. They almost had another one last year, but guess what? COVID the way it is. But Drew Foster, guy wants to be a teacher. He's sitting there. He's like, all right, I'm still making this wrestling thing. And then Mark Hall, who's been all world since he was a little kid. So you've got somebody that developed in college that was under 500 their first year to a guy that won an NCAA title his first year. Now they're meeting as both, past NCAA champions. So that right there in itself is a true testament to both the directions you can get to be on top.
Yeah, it's so good. And what I love about sport is, and competition is, it's not a math test. 2 + 2 don't always equal 4. And so the beauty of that match is you do have two guys that took two different paths, but at a really high level right now. And both of those dudes love to scrap. So they're going to bring it.
Yeah, Joe Rowe's a Division III guy. He was a Division III champion at Elmhurst. Of course, he's made world teams at various weight classes. Guy likes he can eat, he can not eat, he can perform everywhere. A guy that only wrestled in the Illinois State tournament one time, didn't place, goes to Fargo, wins it in Greco, ends up wrestling for Steve Marinetti at Elmhurst, 3-time Division III All-American, wins it and wins a team trophy that year at Elmhurst. And then Spencer Woods, he's an Alaska guy going the Greco-Roman route. So youth versus experience in a different background as well. You've got the D3 route to the Greco top of the ladder, and then you got a kid like Spencer Woods who's come from Alaska, goes through northern Michigan, sitting there goes, okay, yeah, I'm ready to break through as well.
Yeah, I love it. And one, we want to showcase each aspect of our sport, from the female side to the Greco side to the freestyle side, and that was important for us to have that diversity. Because we think it's important for our sport, and we think that every one of those people matter. And so that was super important for us to kind of create that diversity in this event.
Yeah, of course, Brenda Reyna, currently a standout wrestler at McKendree. Lauren Louise, who came through in the early years, and I don't want to say early, she's not that old. Although Lauren and I actually share the same birthday. We're both August 20th, so I've got a couple years on her. But at the same point, she came through when there was the WCWA and the women's college wrestling scene was really starting to grow. She was a multiple-time All-American there, has been on the senior ladder for quite a while. So again, much like Woods and Rowe, youth versus experience, and Brenda Reyna, a tremendous, tremendous talent. So this is one that I like when the women's cards or women's matches feature, you feature like a McKendree, and you feature like somebody that's, everybody knows the Olympians, but let's say, Lauren Louise has been there. She her name got thrown up there a bit when she joined the Hawkeye Club, and she's been out there a while. And there's somebody that's just a tremendous athlete like Brenda Reyna out there too. I mean, this is a unique matchup.
Yeah. And we're getting to showcase different aspects of our sport that may not get to be showcased, normally in one of these events. And so hopefully our goal is that we would make this such an awesome event where the first time we have to ask people to do it, the second time they ask us to come back. That's our goal. We want to be the Chick-fil-A of events. It's just our pleasure to serve them. And so hopefully that's what they'll see when they get there, and they'll believe when they leave.
All right, see, being for you now, you get me sidetracked on Chick-fil-A, and I'm gonna speak on my Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes thing here real quick. So first,
gosh, here we go.
I like spicy chicken. So when I want spicy chicken, they just opened a Popeyes like 2 miles from the house, which is very dangerous for me because, one, I like the regular sandwich, I like the spicy sandwich, I like the spicy chicken, I like the spicy chicken strips. From somebody that's 245 pounds, trust me, you can trust my opinion on food. Now,
you've done your homework, right?
When it comes to the sandwich itself, I think they're in two different ballparks because they're different. You have to add the mayonnaise and such to the regular Chick-fil-A. Some people like it. We had one on campus in college, so I ate a lot of Chick-fil-A because it worked with the meal plan. The spicy sandwich, that's good because the spicy is in there. But with Popeyes, you're a spicy chicken sandwich restaurant, yet your spicy on your sandwich comes from the spicy mayo. That defeats the whole purpose of spicy chicken from Popeyes. Sorry.
So you're going point Chick-fil-A.
Spicy sandwich Chick-fil-A. Now, yeah. I don't think neither of them is terrible, but I'm a spicy Louisiana style, like Louisiana fan. Yeah, give me that Popeyes. But I was in Oklahoma last week for the Hall of Fame Honors weekends. There's a Raising Cane's and a Chick-fil-A right across from the hotel. I ate at Chick-fil-A 3 times. Okay.
Nice.
Why? Because I can. Now, typically, I'm not a fast food guy, but you say Chick-fil-A, you trigger me because Hampton, Newmarket, North Mall, back growing up, campus at ODU, and then when they brought one to Minnesota, the lines were like 2 miles long. So,
it's crazy.
I grew up on the Chick-fil-A. I grew up on the Popeyes. I feel qualified to say this. They're both good sandwiches. You can't go wrong with either. But if there's a Popeyes and a Chick-fil-A next to each other, I'm going to go to where it's our pleasure. Because they give you the best ice with the drinks, too. That, to me, is
right. It is the best ice, yeah.
The rabbit poop ice. I don't want to ruin it for you, but that's what... Okay, so you were saying you're like, our pleasure to serve you with wrestling. And as we set up the stage for 2 upper weights, we're going... basically, you look at your 3 men's weights, you've gone 86, 97, 125. So none of these little guys... Grunwald's like on his own, like, I'm the only little guy. But, Ty Walls, Don Bradley... mobile and active when they want to be. I just wonder, hopefully there's no hockey boards for Dom to drive anybody through. I think Ty will be good there, but Ty's performed on this type of atmosphere before. So Two good guys too. Ty and Dom have been great to me over the years, so it's gonna be fun to see those guys mix it up and see if they go. Hey guys, score points.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Put on a show, man. I don't need a 2-1. Don't give me this tactical match. Give me some entertainment, guys.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Maybe we can lure them into making that happen.
Yeah, winner gets Popeyes or Chick-fil-A, whatever they choose.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe the winner gets Chick-fil-A, the other gets Popeyes. We'll see who wants it the most.
Ooh, then you might have a situation where one of them's backing out of bounds, trying to lose on purpose, and
they're both going to want the Chick-fil-A. I'm confident in Chick-fil-A.
JILO Rocky Elam. Rocky Elam's just a moose of a young man. JILO Virginia guy, Northern Virginia, has had a real good career for Steve Garland, the Cavaliers, and Steve's been very open, and I mean Steve's very active in his church and such. So, not a stretch that there's going to be University of Virginia guys involved in something like this.
Yeah, Steve's been a huge fan of FCA Wrestling. I do a Bible study every Wednesday with a group of coaches across the country. Steve's there almost every Wednesday, along with Frank Beasley, Sam Barber, Kevin Ward, Neil Ayersman. So a lot of guys, Daniel Elliott at Gardner Webb, Nick Soto, one of my former guys. So tons of guys that we've been able to influence across the country. And again, we want to raise awareness. We want people to know we're here to help. We're not here to get in your grill. We're not trying to tell you how to coach. Obviously, these guys are elite level when it comes to coaching and competing, but we do want to come alongside the wrestling world and help them. I mean, our mission and vision is simple. That's to see the wrestling world, like have a relationship with Jesus Christ, get them plugged into the church, and hopefully allow them to see that, man, life is bigger than just this sport that we all love. Life is real. And at some point, wrestling comes to an end. At some point, life comes to an end. And hopefully through our Truth and Technique series, we'll be able to do that in a way that'll invite people in on this journey.
Yeah, one thing about Neil is I've become pretty close with the Little Rock program. Obviously, chronicled the story.
Doing a great job
through Rocked Up, but you see a real family atmosphere down there.
Yes,
and Neil's somebody who's he's been pretty open about his faith since he was an athlete at Oklahoma State, and then. When I remember he picked me up at the airport, I looked and boom, there's the coach's Bible, which is an FCA thing, and he sent me a copy of it, and it's pretty interesting how that is geared towards sometimes you don't have to be a coach to pick at it, because that's the one I probably get to most of it, because when you grow up with being a Southern Baptist like I was, you got the big old book, you get the big old version of the King James, which is kind of hard to read when I don't write like that. I don't think like that. So like the FCA Coach's Bible, for example, that's a good breakdown. I like the liner notes. Those are the type of things that help bring me back into at least paying attention and reading and say, I've had a hard day. I look at him, I think I might need to pick that up just for a moment. But Neil's been really, really open about that, and he's really helped me out with providing me that personally too. And then of course you talk about, there's some faith-based institutions that you mentioned. And then of course you mentioned Soto at St. Andrews, head coach down there in NAIA program.
Kaiser.
Now he's at Kaiser. That's right. He was right. He's down in Florida again. So he was at St. Andrews, now at Kaiser, because their startup program, I think third year in the NAIA. So he's going to get his feet wet, literally, because I think they're on the beach. I think they're on West Palm Beach, if I'm not mistaken.
West Palm Beach. It's pretty impressive. I've seen some pictures.
I remember when actually speaking of Little Rock, when Javier Molinado was at Southeastern,
another Chattanooga boy.
Yeah, before he went to Little Rock, he was sitting there looking at that Kaiser job. He's sitting there going, he scratched his head, like, man, there's certain coaches I don't want to know want to get that job, because that'll crush me, because they'll like start to recruit the West Palm Beach thing. But anyway, you say you got your ties all over college coaching, man.
Yeah, it's great, man. And again, it's not just us; it's the community of wrestling. It's guys like you who are just so for our sport, and I think that's why we continue to see. I think we're going to continue to see our sport grow, and I think hopefully events like this will help again put things on the map that will help people to see that, man, the sport of wrestling is unique. We're doing some incredible things, and we're all for each other, even when we come from different backgrounds. We are all for each other, and we're here to help each other make a difference. And so if you're out there, man, make sure you tune in on June 18th, 6 p.m. Again, even as Jason mentioned, man, the Coach's Bible, the Athlete's Bible, we just did 2 devotionals through the Gospel of Matthew, the Gospel of John. We have a ton of resources. I mean, I'm in a camp right now because kids want resources. They want to learn the sport of wrestling. Well, it doesn't matter if you're 43 years old or 14. We can always be growing. And so if you're out there and you are looking for resources to maybe look into this thing we call the faith, who is this Jesus guy? Well, man, go to fcawrestling.org, click on resources. We have a ton of resources that are available to coaches and athletes, and you can find those right there on our website. And so, again, if you're searching, go check it out.
Heath Eslinger of FCA Wrestling. Once again, find that information about the upcoming 8, fcawrestling.org. You can go to the link you see on the screen if you're watching live or watching the archive, fcawrestlingpro.org/live-event-sign-up. Actually, go to fcawrestlingpro.org. You can get right to the sign-up page as well. And, of course, that card featuring 5 good matches: Drew Foster versus Mark Hall, Joe Rowan, Spencer Woods, and Greco, Lauren Louise, Brenda, Reyna, women's freestyle, and the big guys, Dom Bradley, Ty Walls, and JALO versus Rocky Elam. That'll be on the card June 18th, 6 p.m. Eastern. Free. All you need to do is register in advance, again, at the link on the screen or fcawrestlingpro.org. Heath, anything as we wrap up here?
Man, just thank you so much. Man, you're a rock star, man. You've been so good to me in my coaching career. You're so good to the wrestling community. So appreciate what you do. And man, look forward to seeing a bunch of people jump on this live event. Hopefully we can make a huge difference in this next year through this Truth and Technique series. And so continue to be on the lookout. We'll continue to make some announcements, continue to kind of give you some teasers on what really is going to be in that Truth and Technique series. But I truly believe, as a former coach myself, most of the issues we face have nothing to do with wrestling. It usually has to do with the heart and the mind of the athlete. And so we really believe this can be a huge benefit to you as a coach as you lead your program, to you as a family even. I mean, we have stuff on there about parenting. And so to you and as a family, as you lead your son or daughter, we think it can be a huge benefit to you.
Heath Eslinger, appreciate the time and good luck with the event.
You got it. Thanks.